Well, a long time it was mental institutions, and we lost those.
Well, I always say, thank God I wasn't a drunk in the 50s or the 40s, because I would have had a little lobotomy. You know, that was my future. My future was like Rose Kennedy. And I would, you know, standing on my parents' porch in Brooklyn, dribbling my gums.
And as Andrew will let you know, I mean, that was a form of treatment.
Right, absolutely.
That's what they thought would help alcoholics was lobotomy.
It helps.
Right, it does.
The alcoholism, it causes a whole other problem.
We're gonna have to go to break in a second, but there's a question I want to ask you because, especially you're a lawyer. There's a new case out there where people are suing that judges can't force people to go to AA meetings.
Really?
Yeah, because they feel
New York State.
It's New York State.
Second Circuit Court of Appeals.
Where they're suing because they feel it's unconstitutional that
separation of church and state.
Separation of church and state, because in AA they have God.
AA was a religion.
Right. So it's a court case now.
But you see, I know you're going to break. Just a quick answer. A judge could always say, "Oh, okay, you don't want me to send you to AA? No problem. I'll just exercise my discretion and send you to a place where I know you'll be every single night."
Right.
And where God will not be.
Right. Where you'll be saying God a lot.
We're going out to break. It's KLEAN Radio. You can reach us at 8778-830-830. We'll be back in a few minutes with our guests, Dane and Carmine.
Dana.
Welcome back to KLEAN Radio. I'm here with Dana Cole. I got his name wrong on the way out, which always is terrible. Feel very bad about that, Dana. Sorry about that.
No problem.
And it's rude.
Right, and it's
just
rude.
Plain rude.
And Judah and Carmine just got back from their
it's so funny. Like anybody that watches us, that's gonna watch us on
KLEANradio.com,
sees my Monster Energy drink and my coffee in front of me and wonder.
Nobody wonders anything. They know.
They know.
Yeah, they just know. They know that you're for real.
And we are giving away Angel tickets tonight.
We are again?
Yeah.
I think we should go with the same trivia question that we had last week that nobody got.
Which is what? I don't even remember.
Which of our former guests' favorite musician was Barbra Streisand?
Yeah, that's
it's a good one.
Yeah, that's
They're just going to have to go to KLEANradio.com and watch all the episodes until they find out who it is.
And they're good. They're good seats, you know. You were at the game yesterday.
I actually did go to the game yesterday.
Yeah, you saw the Red Sox.
Yeah, they did a number on the Angels. So
I want to start a support group of people that don't want to be sports fans. And because I can't stand caring, you know. It's like I'm watching the Knicks.
You can't stand caring.
Yeah, I hate that.
So you want to start a support group, which means you care.
But that's what I want.
This is such a Judaism. We need to start creating a book.
Well, I think the Dodgers are losing them in droves.
I want to start a thing that I want to stop caring. Like I don't want to care about the Knicks losing. I don't want to care about the Rangers losing.
Just don't care.
But I can't help it. I can't. I'm powerless. Let's
do an intervention. What do you think, Carmine? Can we intervene on this sports self-flagellation?
You know, we do interventions for lint pickers and nose pickers. Hoarders.
Do you do everything?
Mental health, people who have gambling addictions, sex addictions, dual diagnosis, eating disorders. These people's lives are typically at risk, so we do interventions for that. But it's primarily drug and alcohol interventions that I do.
I don't know if you're going to give the answer, but I'm curious. How much does an intervention cost?
I charge $3,600 to $5,500. It really depends on the dynamics of the case.
And you know, it's funny. It sounds like it's a lot of money, but it's not. It's so weird that when it comes to the field of treatment, people hear a price and they go, "Oh, it's too much." You know, but anybody would be willing to pay anything for a heart transplant, for anything surgically that they need. But it's the same thing.
Or a lawyer.
But you're going to die.
I only wish.
It's definitely cheaper to go to me than it is to Dana initially. And it's
undercutting the lawyer on the radio.
Hey, I've worked with Dana. I tell you, Dana's very reasonable. I mean, he's a reasonable attorney. He's one of the best attorneys in the Los Angeles area. There's no doubt about that. I mean, there is no doubt about that. And he's a very reasonably priced attorney.
Right.
But it is ultimately more healing to get to us first.
And $3,600 is not that expensive. 36 to 55 is, saving a life. is pennies.
The problem is that, what I do is a very specialized area of addiction treatment. I mean, it's getting people into recovery. And unfortunately, insurance companies don't cover this. So it is all out of pocket expenses for the families.
I think we should start a prop, like a proposition. Like it should be Proposition 12. After the 12 steps, and that we fight California to insurance companies pay for interventions.
Okay.
Okay.
First of all, your prop numbers are way off.
No, I know, but I was saying Prop 12 of the 12 steps.
I think Medi-Cal should pay for it because they've got plenty of money.
Yeah.
Right.
In that case, then the school system should pay for it too, because they also have plenty of money.
I think people with money these days are the military, but
Well, here's also the beauty about using an interventionist, though. We're not just there for the initial getting them into treatment. So I mean, there is a lot of components to treatment. So families I'm basically part of that person's team for life also. So it's not just initially I'm there. I stay with them no matter what's going on while they're in treatment, discussing aftercare. There's a lot of different areas of this that I work in. So they're really getting a guide throughout the process, in addition to getting their loved one in the treatment.
Yeah, I've seen Carmine work, and it's actually impressive because Carmine, unlike some other people I've worked with, really goes that extra step. You pay a fee, and yeah, it's money. But, some people could work, 8 hours and then take off, or they could really stick through and go through the whole thing. And without, you're here, right, and I'm talking about you, so it's a little awkward, Carmine. But one of the things I've been impressed with Carmine is that he always goes that extra step. And I think the underlying theme about what we've been speaking about today on this show is this criminalization versus treatment, right? And we have a lawyer and we have an interventionist and how they're
and a criminal. No,
and a criminal shooter. Right. And how there are ways for both the judicial system, the criminal judicial system, and interventionists and treatment to work together to help mitigate situations where there's problems with clients in addiction.
The thing I'm fascinated most by is people's unwillingness to pay when it comes to this area. And I've always found it very fascinating. It's like you're helping save somebody's life. You can't really put a price on that.
Or they pay when it goes very far down the line.
Well, can I take slight exception with what you're saying?
Yes, you can.
Only because a lot of the clients that I have, their loved one has been through rehab 5, 10, 15, even 20 times. And so these families sort of get very frustrated.
Right.
And they, their view is, why should I continue to put up money when it's failed so many times before?
Well, I wasn't even referring to, I'm referring to first-time people.
Okay.
When you say a price even to people first time and you say, well, rehab is going to cost you 30 grand, they're like, oh my God, I can't afford that.
I mean, I'm curious, Carmine, when a family member says, why the heck should I hire you when this kid has failed 11 times? What is your response?
I'm going to tell you something. Not having somebody like me to work with you, there are lots of areas where the entire system does fail if you don't do it right. Families that are not educated on addiction and what aftercare really is supposed to look like. I mean, I take them through the process of understanding what your loved one should be doing when they get home from treatment. There is a lot of things families don't know, that before somebody actually picks up and uses, they've already done a number of things to set themselves up for a relapse. Families don't know what those things are. Families don't know that if the suggestion of the program for aftercare is that they attend a 12-step program, well, it's not just attending a 12-step program. It's attending a 12-step program and getting a sponsor, calling the sponsor every day, networking with people in the program. If there's counseling services that they're supposed to be going to and seeing a therapist, all these things we talk about. What is the aftercare plan? Because, see, the environment that they're in for rehab is very safe, it's structured, and it provides them with a footing in recovery. However, the real test is once they leave rehab, now what's being put in place for them. If the family isn't a part of that recovery process, and that's what really drives this whole thing, is that the family has got to be involved and understand that when your loved one comes home, let's safeguard the house before they even get there, make sure there's no triggers, booze, pills, whatever it was they were doing. Let's discuss that. Let's talk about them getting to a meeting day one. You know, you can't wait for day 3 and 4 to come. I mean, they'll procrastinate. It won't happen. So these are all the things that we do in addition to just getting them into treatment. I mean, that's huge. Getting somebody, you know, saving somebody from dying at sea is huge, okay? But in order to have a successful recovery program, there are so many different parts of this that they need help with. And that's the beauty of having someone who's committed to the process, working with the family, and working with their loved one.
No, you're right. We were talking about that actually in the beginning of the show. I was talking about being home at my family's house last week for Passover. And, you know, when I first got sober, the first couple of years, my mom would never have wine at the Seder, at the Passover Seder. She would, you know, she was like, let's safeguard this house as much as humanly possible. She used to say to me, if you need to leave early and go to a meeting, go. You know, if it gets too intense here and you need to take time off, go. And through the years, obviously, that's changed, but a lot of people aren't willing to do that. Mm-hmm. And that's a pretty amazing thing that you step in and show people how to do that, because...
Well, you know, the thing is, people have to learn how to live in recovery. Okay, I had a client who was into going to tailgate parties. Well, it's still important that he gets to go to these tailgate parties. The thing is, bring some sober people with you. You know, once you make friends in the program of recovery, you bring sober people with you. You safeguard that environment. You can still do those things you love, but you need to put in place some things that are going to make that environment work for you.
Except wine tasting. That would be that would be really hard.
One thing I always say though is that people's things that they think that they really enjoy change once they get sober. You know, and we've been talking about that quite a bit on the show, is that once people get into recovery, the things that they thought were really important to them end up not being so important.
You used to love Greco-Roman wrestling. And,
no, but for example, tailgating is a good example, right? Where tailgating, you know, it's probably one of the reasons he likes it is it's an excuse to get drunk.
Well, no, actually,
the camaraderie. There's
actually for this guy, he really supports that was his college team,
right.
And he supports them, and you know, and that's okay. I mean, do that, but we need to just build things around this person so that it still works.
Yeah, I couldn't do it right away either. I really had to wait a long time to do certain things because, you know, it was intense. Mm-hmm. You know, the emotions. I'm a huge Giant fan. And I had to stop watching the Giants for a while.
If anything's going to make you relapse, it's being a Giants fan.
Oh my God! You know, because I couldn't take it emotionally, and I know I'm not alone in this because I was at a meeting one time where like 50 guys were talking about the same subject of having a hard time watching New York Giant football because they got too intense. You know, and there is a statistic, just so you know, that if your team loses on a Sunday, the work productivity in that town goes down the Monday.
They've done studies where they do this, where they take the two teams' fans and they check their testosterone level before the game, and they check them after. And the team that lost, the fans have lower testosterone, and the team that won, the fans have higher testosterone.
Who does these studies?
It's amazing, right? I do.
Right.
Well, who's funding these studies? So, you know, the question, you know, back to, you know, the original question that Dana has, you know, why would a family, you know, this is the 11th time? Obviously, it's systemic. So something is not working. Whatever you've done to get them the treatment 1 through 10, there's pieces to this puzzle that you're not putting together. Let me work with you and help you find out what is missing and lacking in this. You know.
See, I guess it's Manish Tana. Why is this treatment going to be different from all others?
Well, I wanted to tell you, I could share that from personal experience. My father used to say, as long as his son was alive, there was a chance. And people used to say to my father, tough love, you got to do this, you got to do that. And my father would say, if my son calls me up and says I need to get into a rehab right now, he would send me to you know, if as long as you're alive, there's a chance. So I get it that there's so much frustration, and I mean, alcoholics and what we do to our families. You know, we push ourselves. It says in the book, like a thumb on a bruise. You know, we really repel people by addiction. Not just our family, our friends, everybody. We repel society. But you know, if there's that chance, you got to take it. There's no different than surgery. If somebody says to you, you need 10 surgeries, that, you know, a friend of mine, somebody. just got a fourth kidney, a third or fourth kidney. You don't say if one of them doesn't work, well, we're done. You know, you got that kidney, and you know
that's coming though. With healthcare
you know, screw you. You got dialysis. The rest of the kidney didn't work. You're done. You know, you keep on trying.